Hi, I'm Alice from Tap with Alice, and in this video, I'd like to share with you some teachings from traditional Chinese medicine to do with emotions. So I'm simplifying vastly, but in general, there are certain emotions associated with the different seasons in traditional Chinese medicine. So as you go through the seasons, it can be interesting to identify which emotions are there, coming and going with the seasons, and how you could balance them. So we'll start with the spring. In the spring, the negative emotion associated with spring is frustration and anger. And you can balance that by encouraging energy to flow. So you can do that, for example, with any kind of exercise and movement that will help energy to flow. And as you know, as you probably know if you're watching my videos, I am an EFT practitioner. So EFT is a somatic body-based technique for balancing the emotions. And so is exercise. It can be really effective for moving out stuck emotions, especially frustration and anger, and especially in the spring. In the summer, there are it's a little bit complicated with the summer, but it could be things like worry and insomnia, especially the kind where you wake up in the middle of the night and can't get back to sleep. There could also be a kind of heaviness and boredom, um, and not having any enthusiasm and joy. So that would be the imbalanced emotions in the summer. So in order to bring in that joy, that summery joy, um, we need to bring in lightness and warmth. So whatever that means to you, what lights you up? Think of something that really lights you up and see if you can do more of that in the summer if you're feeling that heaviness and apathy and boredom. Um, so um, something that could bring some lightness into your life, some fun. Um, Fun is really individual, isn't it? For somebody, it could be playing with their children or their dog, or for another person, it could be watching comedy shows or something like that. But something that lights you up and brings that sort of joy and laughter. And even if you kind of feel like you're faking it, if you're actually physically laughing, your physiology will follow that. Again, it's a body-based thing. So that's what you can do for fire elements in the summer. In the late summer, so in traditional Chinese medicine, there are 5 seasons. In the late summer or in between the seasons, the emotion is anxiety and overthinking. So this is a really common one with all of us, many of us anyway. And we can balance that by being grounded and still. And that can be very difficult when you're overthinking. But see again if you can use your body, just do something grounding, such as yoga using long holds. It can be quite uncomfortable, but it will really help that overthinking. Coming back into your body, because with overthinking, we're too much up in our heads. So something like massage might be quite grounding, or something like gardening is also a very grounding thing to do. You're working with the ground, and also it's a physical thing that doesn't require too much thinking. So that would be for the late summer. And then in the autumn, the unbalanced emotion is grief and loss. And it could be that feeling of missing somebody or something. It could be created by change of some kind. For example, if you moved house, that's also a feeling of loss of your old house, your old friends, your old place that you used to live. It's not just grieving a relative that's died, although it's also that as well. And we can balance that with structure and boundaries, um, and routines and discipline. So that might sound a bit strange, but actually it can be really helpful. I remember when my father died, the only thing I wanted to do was I just wanted to get back to work. I wanted that familiar routine and the structure where I knew I had to do this at this time, had to go through the day and fit into a certain structure. Because grief can feel like you're all out of control and everything's gone and nothing's the same in your life anymore. So if you bring back that structure and that discipline, bring your energy back in, it can really help to balance that excess grief. And the last one is in the winter, the unbalanced emotion is to do with fear. That sounds a bit melodramatic, but it's not just fear, it's that kind of jumpiness, nervousness, or even just a weak will. You know, if you have weak willpower, usually it's because there's some kind of fear involved, fear of if I do this, and you're not really behind your decision because you're fearful of something, of the effects of what you're doing. And it can also be, I just don't have the energy to do this, you know, I don't have the energy. In the winter, it's quite common to feel that lack of energy because it's dark and shorter days and it's cold and you just want to curl up on the sofa, which is okay, and it's great to do that, but in excess, it can be quite unhealthy. And the way to balance that is to make sure that you charge your batteries. So, as well as charging your batteries, you want to stop stuff draining away. So, whatever works for you to charge your emotional batteries. So, for some people, it could be curling up on the sofa with a book more often than usual. For some people, it could be making sure that you go out in nature. For other people, it could be making sure that you meet up regularly with friends. Whatever charges your batteries, your emotional batteries, and keeps you feeling full. And the other part of that is don't let your energy drain away, especially in the winter. So what drains your energy in your life? Is it scrolling too much on social media? Is it too much intake of news? Or maybe it's a certain person in your life that you can perhaps try and minimize contact with that person if they drain your energy. So we want to keep our energy in and stop it from draining away in the winter. So I hope that was interesting and helpful. And if you'd like any more support with managing your emotions at any time of the year, do get in touch with me at tapwithalice.com or on Facebook, also Tap with Alice. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.